Hello everybody, welcome back. I am Training Days, for those who don't know me, and what I'm going to be doing today is kind of bringing two worlds together. So I am exclusively a PlayStation player. I do not own a PC. Now, what this video is about is a huge announcement for the PlayStation community, especially the PSVR community, that we are going to be getting a flight sim. And not just any flight sim, a combat flight simulator. The game is called Aces of Thunder, and we don't yet have a release date, but we do know some of the content. And if you guys would like to see some of those videos, I already have them. You can check out the links up above. But essentially what Aces of Thunder is going to be a World War II VR game where you can use your hands to do the controls within the plane. Now, I'm sure because the game that Aces of Thunder is derived from, War Thunder, has compatibility with HOTAS systems, which is, for those who don't know, these bad boys. Basically, throttle and joystick controls, right? So we are going to get a game where you can possibly use real flight controls and then use your touch-sensitive hand controllers to move things around in the cockpit. It'll be awesome because PSVR is fun. The screen and the LEDs are amazing. That has always been my issue with PSVR. I had the first one. The controls were very clunky. The headset was absolute dog shit when looking back. And it was one of those things that once you put on another VR headset, it was very difficult to go back, especially with the lack of games that the first PSVR had. And the second one is having a similar issue, although the quality is way up. But for the first time, we are going to be getting an air combat simulator that tries to mimic real life, that isn't cartoony, and that is a multiplayer experience. Now, earlier I said merging two worlds together. That's because the main game that I play, at least on this channel, is War Thunder. War Thunder Sim specifically, a game where I use those flight controls that I showed you guys with a head tracker on my head and fly around in War Thunder Sim. I'm a member of one of the top, if not the top, PlayStation squadrons in that game. I'm somebody who enjoys competition, and I enjoy flying simulators, so that game is perfect for me. And funny enough, the people making Aces of Thunder are the developers that worked on War Thunder Sim. And for those who don't know, War Thunder is a game that you can already play in VR on PC, and they tried to make it work for PlayStation VR, but they couldn't get it to. So the main function of Aces of Thunder, from the developer's perspective, is to create a market that caters to the VR users on PlayStation, because they couldn't do it just off the base War Thunder. But they're going to be doing more than just copy pasting from War Thunder. They're going to be making game modes that we've never had, including a 1v1 duels and the ability to use your hands to move things around in the cockpit. Even if you played VR in the original War Thunder game, you could never use your hands. You still had to use controls, and for a lot of people that was mouse and keyboard, which takes you out of the immersion of the VR. And if any of you guys followed the links, I do have one video where I highlight a huge problem that I believe Aces of Thunder is going to have, and that's the PSVR exclusivity and the possibility of a lack of players. But as this comment shows, and I didn't really realize how tunnel visioned I was in my view, coming from as a War Thunder Sim PlayStation player, that Aces of Thunder is going to attract an audience that isn't simply tailored specifically to those War Thunder Sim players or those War Thunder players. We are going to garner a lot more player base from people who have never been able to fly in a simulator because they only have PlayStations, right? In Xbox, you have Microsoft Flight Simulator. On PC, you have everything under the fucking sun. But in PlayStation, we're left with next to nothing. And Aces of Thunder promises to be a game that brings that experience to us. This is a huge win. This is awesome. Everybody with a PlayStation, and everybody especially with a PSVR 2, should be celebrating right now. Now, I will say that the issue is that the PSVR 2 is more expensive than the PS5 itself, and you need to have both of those things and the game in order to be able to play it. Unlike War Thunder, this isn't going to be a free game. It is a paid for, but the main issue with War Thunder for a lot of people is the grind. It turns people off. That's like when you have to play the game for however many hours in order to unlock the things you want to play. This game promises not to have that, but at the same time, on release, it's going to have less aircraft overall. It's only going to have World War II planes. If you guys want to see specifically which planes are going to be released with it, again, check out the links above. I already have a video on that. So if you are a PlayStation player, if you're not interested in PSVR, or you have one already, this is a massive win, because if you weren't interested before, you might be now. And there are other games, especially for me, Gran Turismo is a for sure purchase once I get the PSVR. Right now I have next to no money in order to do that, and I'm sure for a lot of people right now that is also an issue. But I will be budgeting for it for sure because I want to cover this game. And as you guys can see by the videos I've already made, I'm trying to position myself to be somebody to cover the game, and I want to follow it the whole way through, whether it's good, bad, ugly, whatever, okay? So if you guys are interested in Aces of Thunder at all, make sure to subscribe. I'll be right here following along the way. I really just wanted to make this video to emphasize that Aces of Thunder is a huge win, not just for the War Thunder sim community, but for PlayStation as a whole. So I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. I tend not to get excited for games because I've been burned very recently by games like BF 2042 and the massive hype trains. I try not to get on board with those, but for this I think we have reason because we already have a base model in War Thunder Sim, right? So we know what it's going to be at the very least, and we know what it could be at the very most. And throughout that whole range, I'm happy with whatever we get. So thank you all for watching today. I'll catch you in the next one. Adios.